Today, we'll talk about a classic fantasy movie. In the slums of the Persian Empire, a young boy unintentionally stepped in the way and was nearly trampled by a horse. Orphaned and pitiful, he was caught by the enraged soldiers and slapped across the face. Faced with such brutality, the onlookers remained silent. Only one passing boy dared to throw an apple at the abusive soldier, successfully diverting their attention. The young boy was agile and skillful, outmaneuvering the soldiers with his quick reflexes. However, he was eventually captured. The soldiers prepared to publicly sever his hands, but at that moment, the Persian king arrived just in time. The king asked for the boy's name.
What is your name, boy?
Dastan!
Recognizing the boy's bravery, the king decided to adopt him. Thus, Dastan became the king's third son. Little did the king know that his act of kindness that day had gained him an extraordinary son. 15 years passed in the blink of an eye. Dastan had grown into a strong and respected warrior within the army. One day, intelligence officers intercepted a shipment of weapons. These weapons were crafted by Alamut, a sacred city that remained neutral in conflicts. Yet they were being supplied to neighboring warlords, an act strictly forbidden by Persia. To uncover the truth, the Persian army marched to the outskirts of the sacred city. Under the leadership of the crown prince, Tus, what was meant to be a peaceful investigation escalated into a full-scale siege. To minimize casualties among his soldiers, Dastan led a small team to the side gate, where defenses were weaker. Using a wooden beam, they launched Dastan to a certain height, after which archers shot ropes for him to climb. With the soldiers' support, Dastan successfully reached the city wall and lowered a rope for his team to follow. They quietly eliminated the patrolling guards and opened the side gate. The Persian army stormed through the entrance, and the sacred city fell. Upon hearing that the gate had been breached, Princess Tamina of Alamut ordered her trusted aide to escape with a sacred artifact. However, she was intercepted by Dastan. A fierce battle ensued. Using his agility, Dastan gained the upper hand, and the sacred artifact fell into his hands. When he opened it, he discovered a beautifully crafted dagger, which he claimed as a trophy. The Persian army successfully occupied the sacred city, and Princess Tamina was captured. Prince Tus, captivated by her beauty, declared that he would take her as his consort. Tamina initially intended to die rather than submit. However, upon noticing the dagger hanging from Dastan's waist, she changed her mind and agreed to Tus's request. The old king soon arrived at the city in haste and harshly reprimanded Prince Tus. Doubtful of his son's leadership due to his reckless actions, the king questioned whether Tus was fit to rule. In an attempt to prove himself, Tus vowed to find the secret weapon forge of Alamut and then departed alone. On the streets, he encountered Dastan and handed him a luxurious ceremonial robe as a gift to present at that evening's royal banquet. During the evening banquet, the old king publicly praised Dastan's bravery in capturing the city and pulled him aside to discuss the philosophy of kingship. To the second prince, this conversation was an eyesore. Dastan then presented the ceremonial robe given by Prince Tus. However, shortly after the king put it on, white smoke emerged from his body, and he collapsed, dead. Under the protection of the royal guards, Dastan and Princess Tamina fled the banquet hall. Escaping to the outskirts of the city, Dastan was confused. Why would his brother frame him, and why was Princess Tamina suddenly so cooperative? Tamina attempted to steal the dagger, but when caught, she became furious. By accident, Dastan pressed the gemstone on the dagger. It emitted a strange glow, and his body appeared ghostly. The battle scene between him and Tamina replayed before his eyes. He found himself back at the moment they had fought, but he remained puzzled about the dagger's true power. Seizing the opportunity, Tamina tried to strike him with the dagger. Dastan instinctively pressed the gemstone again, causing the ghostly vision to reappear. Rewinding time once more, Dastan warned her, "Try to grab that sword again, and I swear I'll break your arm." At last, she revealed the truth. This dagger was called the Dagger of Time. By releasing the sand inside, the wielder could rewind time by 1 minute. Understanding this, Dastan finally realized why his brother had framed him. From the moment he obtained the dagger, Tus had wanted it for himself. That was why he defied the king's orders and waged war against Alamut. His true goal was to seize the Dagger of Time to rule the world. Meanwhile, Tus had already ascended the throne, issuing orders to hunt down Dastan. At that moment, Dastan grabbed a handful of sand, attempting to refill the dagger, but Tamina mockingly pointed out that not all sand was the same. She knew where to find the right sand, but she refused to say. Dastan, unwilling to waste time arguing, decided to attend the king's funeral and seek out their uncle, Nizam, to reveal the truth. Although Tamina refused to help, she stubbornly followed him. hoping to steal the dagger at the first opportunity. As they passed through a bandit's territory, Tamina suddenly collapsed. Dastan rushed to check on her, unaware of her cunning trick. Taking advantage of the moment, she successfully stole the Dagger of Time. When Dastan regained consciousness, he found himself surrounded by a gang of desert bandits. Their leader merely wanted a toll fee. Sensing an opportunity, seeing this, Dastan proposed a deal offering the escaping Princess Tamina in exchange. In the vast desert, the bandits quickly captured Tamina, making her their captive while Dastan became their esteemed guest. Before long, they arrived at the bandit leader's hideout, where a grand ostrich race was taking place. Now a slave, Tamina was forced to serve drinks and was often harassed, much to Dastan's amusement. However, as he basked in his petty revenge, one of the bandits recognized him as a wanted fugitive. Suspecting that he was the runaway prince, with their cover blown, Dastan seized the right moment to escape. Clever as ever, Tamina unlocked the weapon's chest, causing chaos as everyone scrambled for arms, creating the perfect distraction for them to flee. They traveled north, soon encountering the massive funeral procession for the late king. Blending into the crowd, they successfully arranged a secret meeting with Dastan's uncle, Nizam. Now, only Nizam could clear Dastan's name. Dastan revealed the truth: Prince Tuss was responsible for the king's murder. However, when he reached for the Dagger of Time, he realized that Tamina had swapped it again, leaving him in an awkward position. As he struggled to explain, he noticed the burn marks on Nizam's hands, the same as those found on the king's body. Yet, in his memory, Nizam had never removed the king's robe. Just as suspicion arose, a rooftop archer suddenly attacked. Dastan, anticipating the ambush, managed to escape. However, the palace gates were heavily guarded. Despite the overwhelming odds, he slipped away. Meanwhile, Nizam secretly contacted an elite assassin group, ordering them to retrieve the Dagger of Time and eliminate Dastan. Now on the run, Dastan had uncovered the truth: the real murderer wasn't Prince Tuss but their seemingly kind-hearted uncle Nizam. It was Nizam who handed Tuss the poisoned robe, and it was Tuss who generously gave it to Dastan. But why did Nizam desire the Dagger of Time? Even rewinding time by a minute wouldn't make him king. At last, Tamina revealed the dagger's true power. Deep beneath the sacred city lay a colossal hourglass, created by the gods. By plunging the dagger into the hourglass, its wielder could travel to any point in time. Hearing this, Dastan recalled a story his father once told him. When the old king was a child, he went hunting and was attacked by a beast only to be saved by Nizam. But Nizam was never meant to take the throne. If he could return to that moment in time, he could simply choose not to save the king, and the throne would be his. To stop Nizam's scheme, Tamina planned to take the Dagger of Time to the temple, but just as they were about to leave, a man blocked their path. Because of Dastan's interference, chaos erupted in the bandit camp, with all his prized ostriches gone except for one. The bandit leader had suffered heavy losses. Now, he wanted to exchange Dastan's head for a bounty. However, Tamina assured him that gold was easy to come by. All he had to do was follow them, and she promised he'd get enough gold to fill an entire wagon. Blinded by greed, the man immediately changed his mind. But when night fell and everyone was fast asleep, danger silently crept closer. In the dead of night, the ground began to shift unnaturally. Sensing something amiss, the bandit leader turned over in his sleep only to see a strange creature slowly emerging from the ground. Just as his life hung by a thread, Dastan acted swiftly and struck down the threat. But more venomous snakes slithered out from underground, claiming the lives of many. At the critical moment, someone handed Dastan the Dagger of Time. As the snakes lunged at him, time seemed to freeze. With the dagger's power, Dastan rewound time by 1 minute. Now, knowing the snakes' attack patterns, he was able to strike with deadly precision. Realizing the camp was no longer safe, they decided to leave immediately. By dawn, they arrived at the temple, only to find the villagers slaughtered inside. Clearly, someone had beaten them there. Before they could react, a cavalry unit arrived in a hurry. Leading them was Prince Garsev. He had come to take Dastan for trial. Just as Garsev was about to leave with him, arrows rained down from above. Unable to dodge in time, the prince was struck and fell to the ground. The attackers finally revealed themselves. They were assassins sent by Nizam. In the end, the assassins seized the Dagger of Time and quickly retreated. Now in possession of the dagger, Nizam was on the verge of completing his long-planned scheme. He ordered the excavation of the sacred city, digging deep underground until they uncovered the divine hourglass. Then, he placed the Dagger of Time atop a tower, waiting patiently for the excavation to be completed. Meanwhile, Dastan and his allies also arrived at the city. They split into 3 teams, but the moment they pushed open the palace doors, a volley of throwing blades shot toward them. Fortunately, the bandit leader dodged just in time. Seeing that their enemy wanted to play with blades, he decided to test his own skills. His opponent was also a master of hidden weapons. Escape was no longer an option. Resorting to a risky strategy, he sacrificed himself for a final blow. Though he managed to kill his enemy, he was gravely wounded in the process. With his last ounce of strength, he tossed the Dagger of Time out of the window where someone was waiting below to catch it. When Nizam arrived at the tower, he found that the dagger had been stolen. Furious, he ordered his men to chase down the thief. Soon, they surrounded the suspected thief, only to realize they had walked into Dastan's trap. At the same time, Dastan sneaked into the palace and met with his elder brother, Tuss. He told him everything, but Tuss refused to believe him. To prove he wasn't lying, Dastan used the Dagger of Time to take his own life. At that moment, Nizam arrived, but Tuss, now wary of his uncle, quickly pressed the dagger's gemstone. In an instant, the past events replayed before his eyes. He rewound time by 1 minute now. He believed everything Dastan had said and stopped him from taking his own life, but Nizam wouldn't give them the chance. Without hesitation, he plunged his blade into Tuss, killing his own nephew on the spot. He then grabbed the Dagger of Time and fled. Tamina, hiding nearby, seized the moment. As Nizam tried to save Dastan, a black-clad assassin was momentarily distracted, giving Dastan the perfect chance to strike him down. Upon closer inspection, they noticed the assassin's tattoo. He was once a guardian of the temple. No wonder Nizam knew the truth about the dagger. To stop him, Tamina led Dastan through a secret underground passage, one only known to the temple's guardians. She instructed Dastan to follow her every step carefully. Though they were cautious, the ongoing excavation caused debris to fall, triggering a hidden mechanism. Tamina managed to escape to safety, but Dastan slipped and tumbled down a slope of flowing sand. At the last moment, he grabbed onto a rock, barely avoiding certain death. As they ventured deeper underground, the leader of the assassins ambushed them. A fierce battle ensued, and neither side could gain the upper hand. But the assassin had an advantage: his venomous snakes. Just as Dastan was about to be overwhelmed, Tamina arrived in time. Together, they reached a glowing object, the divine hourglass, created by the gods. But Nizam was already there. While he couldn't match Dastan's strength, his cunning easily outmaneuvered him. Seeing the dire situation, Tamina rushed to stop Nizam, only to be pushed off the cliff. Though Dastan managed to grab her hand, he lacked the strength to pull her up. In the end, she slipped from his grasp and plummeted into the abyss. Seizing the opportunity, Nizam plunged the Dagger of Time into the hourglass, initiating his time travel plan. But before he could complete the process, Dastan lunged forward and pressed the gemstone first, shifting the time reversal onto himself instead. Scenes from the past flashed before his eyes. When the moment was right, he yanked the dagger out, bringing himself back to the day of the siege on the sacred city. Now, he had a second chance. Before everyone, he exposed Nizam's true colors, but no one believed him. Revealing Nizam's lies wasn't difficult. The entire war was based on the claim that Alamut had forged weapons for warlords. All they had to do was find the informant who reported this, and Nizam's deception would be exposed. Seeing that his scheme was about to unravel, Nizam, in a fit of rage, tried to kill Dastan, only to be stopped by Prince Tuss. In the end, Nizam met his demise in the streets, and the truth was finally accepted by all. Prince Tuss personally apologized to Princess Tamina. To ensure lasting peace, he proposed that Dastan marry her. Dastan took out the Dagger of Time and led her outside for a private conversation. Though he never told her that he came from the future, Tamina understood the power of the dagger. Seeing the sincerity in his eyes, she accepted his proposal. The Dagger of Time was finally locked away. The tragedies of the past were rewritten, and the two of them lived happily ever after. I'm a movie enthusiast. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.